Hi, and welcome to the S.J. Childs Show. I'm your host, S.J. Childs. S.J. Childs Show brings value to families through education, resources, and lots of laughs. You can find us on our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all of your favorite podcast platforms. You can also find our special children's books at sjchilds.org. Thank you for all of those who have hosted me on your podcasts. Enjoy the show. Hi, and thank you for joining us on the S.J. Childs Show. I'm your host, S.J. Childs, and today we have a special guest, Troy Ballard. He is I'm going to say it wrong. Troy, I'm going to hand it back to you to say all the right things. He helps you promote natural eyesight through natural eye instruction. I hope I got some of that right. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yep, thank you for having me. Yep, and so I'm a natural eyesight improvement teacher, and I help people get back to natural perfect eyesight without glasses and contacts and things like that.
Yeah, I think that that's something that people probably take for granted and don't even think about is how we can train our bodies to heal itself and to work for ourselves. Tell us how you got into this, Troy.
Sure. When I was young, in junior high, our classes and teachers, they got us all together in the cafeteria to do a basic vision check to see how we were all doing. And I remember seeing the kids looking and, oh, I can see that line and I can see that line. And when I got to the chart, I could see a pretty good amount of the lines on the chart, but there were a couple on the bottom that I couldn't see. And I thought, oh gosh, I'm imperfect. There's something wrong with me. I didn't realize I was seeing blurry like that. I don't want to be that way. I want to have perfect vision. And boy, what do I got to do to get out of that? And so that's what got me into that. So I started looking for things about eyesight. I didn't find too much, but I started getting, like, I read a couple Omni books that talked about the power of positive thinking and things like that. And I thought, well, maybe that's something I can do. If I can imagine my eyeballs changing their shape back to their perfect round shape, then I can have perfect eyesight. So I tried that, but that didn't work. And so I tried a number of different things. My mom had a book, just so happened from her mom for some reason, on eye exercises, eye push-ups, work those lazy eye muscles, or, work them and make them stronger so we can see clearly. And I did those, and they worked good for maybe a week or two. But then it almost seemed like my body said, oh, I know what you're doing now. I know the routine. And I couldn't get clear vision anymore from those. And then my brother just so happened to be listening to some of the things I was doing. Somehow he came across a book at a garage sale called Perfect Eyesight Without Glasses. And it was authored by Dr. Boy, why did that just disappear?
I know, isn't that how it goes?
Bates, Dr. William H. Bates. He was one of the first to discover that our eyesight changes and we can choose to have perfect eyesight. So I read that book and improved my vision and got super sharp clarity vision with that, and I've been teaching it as much as I could wherever I can.
That's incredible. Yeah, I think that it's so important that we find natural, holistic ways to help our bodies be healthier, be stronger. And I like that you are engaging a service for people like this. This is just really incredible. Now tell us what city and state you're in. Do you do things locally or are they online type of things? Tell us how we can find you.
Sure. I teach locally. I did a lot of classes face-to-face and in person But with these virology things we're figuring out, we've been doing a lot more online. So I've been doing a lot more online, been able to teach people at a distance too. But there are natural eyesight improvement teachers out there, so I try and help people get to one nearby them, so they have one that they can be in person with. But yeah, I teach and promote here in Central Utah, and yeah.
That's great. No, I love that you said that because I too love connecting people with people they need resources or services from, and I think that building that network of people to go to is such an important thing. So I love that we met through that and can continue to help one another's business and such move forward in referrals and things like that. It's really great. Tell us what type of age groups you normally work with.
Normally I work with age groups anywhere from about 10. I did have a kiddo in one of my classes that was 8. She did really well, but she got a little intimidated by some of the older folks in the class. She was real quiet. You had to just kind of make sure she got an opportunity to answer questions and things like that, all the way to as old as people can get there. That's what I teach. And then when they're younger, I usually do private lessons with like a mother and a child that could be 6 or 4. I usually do private instruction at those age levels because they definitely require the special connection there.
Yeah, definitely. And we can find you on your Facebook page. Is that right? Tell us the name of that.
Natural eyes.
Perfect. That's easy enough. And I'll have everything linked in the description, of course. You and I were talking about how it affects things like maybe things like dyslexia. I was sharing that my daughter has dyslexia and I had kind of asked, do you think they could be correlated? And what do you think about kind of the brain and the blood flow areas and how eyesight really affects things neurological conditions?
It's all very, very connected, very connected. I work with people that have presbyopia or cross-eyed vision, and it's all in the brain there. What generally tends to happen with somebody that's had cross-eyed vision problems is I tend to see that they have something that happened when they were children, like a heavy sinus infection
Mm.
or a heavy cold that blocks the flows of fluids and energies through the brain. And what'll happen
Mm.
is it will keep one eye from working very well. And
Mm.
so the child will learn how to see with the one eye, but the one eye just really struggles. It really struggles. And then they'll overcome that circulation issue, that sinus infection, or that cold. And then their eye will be kind of stuck because it never really
Mm.
learned the other eye did.
Wow.
So what we do, and it's even much easier with cross-eyed vision person than even nearsighted or farsighted, we just help them to learn to see, and we teach them correct principles. One thing that's kind of hard is, and helpful in some ways, is typically an eye therapist will put a patch on a child to try to work the lazy eye muscles, which is kind of hard. It can introduce effort and trying too much in the wrong ways.
Mm.
It can make the eye wander even more. So when I work with students and my teachers work with students, they make it so you only wear the patch for no more than about 30 to 45 seconds at a time. And then you do the patch on the other side and
Balance.
you alternate and you balance. You don't want to do, especially if they're still in the midst of that health blockage and health. If they're trying to see with the one eye, it can introduce more of can almost bring about an allergic reaction a little
Hmm.
bit, where it just gets more inflammation and it just kind of makes things worse
Yeah.
a lot. So it's good to only do it for like 30 seconds to 45 seconds. And also, you want to be practicing the good vision habits when you're doing it as well.
Mm.
If you're like really trying to see and I got to see, but you don't really know what to do with your eyes or your mind or your body, you're just kind of adding on to that overload that's
Mm-hmm.
there because of blockages and things like that.
Yeah. So I assume when you're training the kids, you kind of have to also give the parents a level of training
Yeah.
to help their kiddos along the way, I think, huh?
Yep. Yep.
That
Definitely, it's a team partnership there. The parents will pick up the subtleties and help them in their own ways teach those subtleties to the children, and
yeah.
that's a very important dynamic. Yeah.
Definitely. One thing we hadn't touched on in our previous discussion, but in our messages, it was migraines. And I had just mentioned that, I have suffered from migraines my entire life. And my mother and also my son with autism, unfortunately, who has
Yeah.
a harder time verbalizing things and doesn't take oral medications. So he literally suffers through them until they go away. And it's the most devastating thing. So if there's some type of exercise or something that I could help him to strengthen, anything like that, that would be definitely, worth my time and efforts to see
Yeah.
if I could do that. So what kind of effects do you see, or do you have clients that come to you with migraines?
Well, I had migraines when I was younger, so and they were correlated with some health issues, some heavy health issues. I had lymph disease, and
Okay.
that was the main cause of my migraines. But I see it regularly, like with vision. If you can imagine, your eyes are floating within your head, just like your brain is floating within your head. So if you change things, if you introduce a certain level of strain and tension, it can really it goes through the lymph system. The lymph system is our system. It helps keeps us fluid and
Like our
momentous.
flushing system, exactly.
It's fluid, and so if you can imagine, if we've got any strain or tension in our eyes are an extension to our brain. So if we've got the muscles and tension around our eyes, that tension definitely radiates to our brain. It can cause blockages and slow flows. Our brain has a special lymph system called the glimpse system.
Mm.
So, and there's like a kind of a border in the back of our neck. And so we've got the lymph system within our brain, and then the lymph system throughout the rest of our body. And we have different channels that protect the flows of those fluids between the brain and the rest of our body. And typically, like I had my migraines back here in the back,
Mm.
and there's a lymph junction back there. And so when there's an imbalance between fluids,
Mm-hmm.
between the lymph system and the body lymph system, it can cause swelling in the brain, swelling around those lymph junctions and things like that. And that's where we get the migraines. We get it
Wow.
because
Yeah.
there's blockages in the lymph system.
And
The lymph
so,
system isn't flowing.
did you essentially cure yourself of migraines by doing these exercises? What do you think? You said you used to get them. So, do you not get them anymore? And what do you think changed?
I had to do a lot of things. I had some out of place circumstances when I was a kid. I got into places where there was high EMF radiation, microwave
Interesting.
radiation, and it damaged my lymph system. So I had to learn how to clean up my body, repair the lymph system, and get it going again.
Wow.
And part of that too is eyesight too. If somebody has really strong blurry vision habits, those blurry vision habits they control lymph flow.
Mm.
And so if you've got blurry vision habits, there's going to be a tendency for people with those to have headaches and
Mm-hmm.
to have migraine level pain and things like that.
That is so
So
interesting.
eyesight is huge with that. In fact,
Yeah.
a lot of people who come to my eyesight class, they'll notice, wow, I can't believe how much strain and tension I grab onto, latch onto, and bind to my body because of these blurry vision habits. So that's one of the first
Interesting.
things to go is those blurry vision habits. Like, wow, I'm a completely different person. Instead of like this, and yeah, there's
Incredible.
huge dynamic. Yeah.
I think that that's fascinating. You had also asked me a question that I didn't have an answer for until now about autism, and autism is a big topic in our home with our son, and we have always wanted to understand more about autism, obviously, as everyone does, I'm sure. And I did a lot of research early on in a decade ago when I was learning about his diagnosis and how I could help and change things. And where I ran into the brain's kind of interactions going on was through casein, was through milk, and was the inflammatory systems that were happening because of these extra proteins being introduced into the body. And for him, every child is different, but as soon as we remove some of those things, his speech pathways started to reconnect and he was able to start speaking. And it was absolutely fabulous, as you can imagine. But you had asked me what I thought about the process of the brain flow, or excuse me, blood flow in the brain, and how that may affect or not affect autism. And I didn't really know, so I had to do some research, and it was great, and I'm really excited. So this is from spectrumnews.org. It says that studies in postmortem brain suggest that some people with autism show excessive blood vessel growth, and brain imaging techniques that use blood flow as a proxy for neural activity reveal differences in blood flow between autistic people and controls. And I just thought that that was so fascinating because when I brought it up to my husband, who's also on the spectrum, and I said, "What would you think about, the blood flow process in the brain being an effect or non-effect of autism?" And he said, well, if it was, it would definitely be that I have more blood flow to my brain and not less, because he's so extra dynamic, extra artistic, extra like visionary and analytical. And so I can see that. And so I love that I was able to find that information and back up that that question.
Yeah, brain, so blood flow, and then the lymph flow parallels the blood flow as well. So lymph circulation and then energy flow through the brain as well. Those can make it so that parts of our brain, the brain flow isn't as much, and just the electrical and also all the other energies as well that we have.
Yeah,
For those who
certainly.
believe in spirit, there's spirit energy flows going on as well.
I completely, we in our home completely believe in like vibrations and frequencies. And I mean, our son has just in the last while taught us, the frequencies of letters. I don't know if you know what those are, but those do exist. And there are levels, complex levels of things that go on in this house over here. We dive deep into things. So yeah, I completely agree that the energy, the law of attraction, the energies you put out, you get in return. And it goes the same for the levels and energies that we put into our bodies and our intentions, right? And those things that you were saying, I agree 100%. Now I told you I was going to remind you to tell us about a tip you said for itchy, scratchy eyes. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
tell us that.
So I'm going to ask everyone out there, who of you would like a free cure for dry, itchy, irritated eyes? Yes? Yep. Yep. All right. Yeah, nobody likes those dry, itchy, irritated eyes. And so here we go. I'm going to give you free cure for dry, itchy, irritated eyes. Pay close attention. Here we go. Did you catch that?
Interesting. Yes, it's the yawn reflex. And I bet that opens up the tear ducts, doesn't it?
It does. It does. For those who didn't quite hear, here we go. Yes, you too can become a master yawner and wash those dry, itchy, irritated eyes away. And all that I ask for this free miracle cure is that you tell the people you know who may be suffering from the afflictions of glasses or contacts, or maybe staring at that big laser beam in the sky, that these are alternatives to our very own natural perfect eyesight.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate all of the information that you shared with us today. I think it's just fascinating, very unique, and we need to bring it to the forefront so that more people take control of their bodies, take care of themselves, and really, teach your children to do the same so that they can have a bright, successful future as well.
Yeah. And not get
Definitely.
stuck into ever strengthening, worsening glasses and I don't want to, if somebody's already gotten LASIK, I don't want to talk too much about that. But if we can prevent people from getting LASIK,
Yeah.
it's basically just etching your prescription onto your eyeballs, and you can't take that prescription off. A lot of people like to take their glasses off just to rest their eyes a little bit and get a different perspective. Artists will take their glasses off. So we don't want to permanently etch our prescription onto our eyeballs, and we don't want to be dependent upon glasses like a crutch or anything like
Yeah.
that.
No, I agree. And I think that going to that root and practicing and just strengthening our bodies from within is the smartest and best thing we can do for ourselves. So I think that that's fantastic. Well, I thank you so much for being here with me today, Troy. One more time, tell us the name of your Facebook and where we can find you.
Okay, my Facebook is Natural Eyes. That's where you can find me there, and I have some general information websites, and then yep, that's where you can find me.
Great.
And I teach classes in person and in Zoom, and I promote natural perfect eyesight and natural optimal health.
I love that. Thank you so much again. And we'll be sure to definitely share this message, because I think that eyesight's something probably, if we don't wear glasses, you probably take for granted. So listen to this, take advantage of, you get your natural perfect eyes. And thank you so much for being here today, Troy. We'll definitely be in touch.
Yeah.
Kind of guy that keeps you warm at night when you are cold. I'll grab some blankets from my bed, wrap them around your chest, and I'll pull you close. We'll flip some channels to find out there's nothing on right now to ease your mind. Sit back, relax, there is no rush, no need to speed things up. All we have is time to think about the future, forget about the past. Time to figure out a way to make this moment last, to make this moment last, to make this moment last. So let's make this the kind of love that we've been dreaming of when we sleep at night. We'll get a little house to live in, have a couple kids, and we'll sleep tight. Cause baby, all we really need are just a couple things to stay alive, and everything else in between. Just trust my heart, you'll see we're slowly coming. Time to think about the future, forget about the past. Time this moment last, to make this moment last, to make this moment last. Sunrises, sunsets, I won't let you forget that I need you. Spring comes as spring goes, forever you will know that I love you. Sunrises, sunsets, I won't let you forget that I need you. Spring comes as spring goes, forever you will know that I love you.